Hey guys, and welcome to the YouTube channel where we pursue progress over perfection when it comes to optimizing your health. Today is a big episode because it's time for protein to move over, and I am introducing you to the next superfood. And guess what? It is fiber. Protein has had its time in the spotlight. Most patients are now getting enough protein through the run of the day, but the biggest thing people are starting to miss now is they are not getting enough fiber. So for the next little bit, I'm going to deep dive into everything about fiber so that you know exactly what you need to be doing to optimize your health. So what is fiber? Fiber is the part of plant food or other nuts and seeds and things that we cannot digest. It does not turn into calories in our body. It goes in through our mouths and comes out in our poop completely undigested. But what this does mean is that it serves as a fuel source for our bacteria and our gut biome. Examples of fiber could be things like oats, beans, lentils, legumes, broccoli, cauliflower, corn, popcorn. Everyone knows the corn race. You have corn one day, it comes out the bottom, and the next day, right? These are completely different types of fiber. Now, there are two types of fiber. There are soluble fibers and there are insoluble fibers. Let's start with insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber are fibers that once you chew them, no more digestion occurs to them. So these are things like nuts, seeds, raw veggies, corn, popcorn, all these types of things. As soon as you chew them, you chew it all up in your mouth and then you swallow it and that's it. Nothing else happens. It will come out exactly that way. Soluble fiber are fibers which actually absorb water. You still cannot digest them, but they absorb lots of water. So think about things like oatmeal, chia seeds, sweet potato, avocado. These are things which, if psyllium husks, if you were to soak them in water, they soak it up like a sponge, but then they stay like that. And they're soft, they're squishy. They can be very soothing to a digestive tract, actually. So those are the two types of fiber. We have soluble and then we have insoluble fibers. What does fiber actually do in your body? It does so many things. But let's start off with one, it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. You can have anywhere between 4 to 7 pounds of bacteria in your gut. So you want to make sure that those billions and billions of bacteria are the right ones there. And to do that, you need to be consuming lots of fiber. Number two, fiber is extremely important for maintaining healthy cholesterol levels. Everyone worries about their cholesterol going up once they get over 40, 45, 50. Maintaining proper levels of fiber in your digestive tract is extremely important to keep your cholesterol in a healthy level. Another one, it controls blood sugar spikes. If you find you are hangry throughout the day, that's a big sign that your blood sugar is out of control, and having enough fiber really helps with that. Two, it regulates bowel movements. A lot of people don't have regular bowel movements, or when they do, they're having to push because they don't have enough fiber. And if you don't have enough fiber, your stool is more the consistency of mud, so it can be really soft. Whereas when you have fiber, it actually comes out formed and it's easy to go. A big one is that it actually supports hormone balancing. So for all my patients that are in perimenopause, menopause, fiber is extremely important. Probably more important than anyone actually realizes, which is why I'm literally calling fiber a superfood at this point. I'll dive into that a little bit later. And finally, fiber helps reduce systemic inflammation because it keeps your gut really happy and in an optimal setting. All right, here comes some truth bombs. Let's drop some stats. The average amount of fiber that a North American consumes is only 15 grams, which is not even close to enough. And that is 15 grams all day. From the moment they started putting food in their mouth to the moment they went to bed, they consume on average only 15 grams. The recommended, at minimum, is women should be having 25 grams of fiber a day, and men should be having 38 plus grams of fiber a day. If we think back to a paleo diet, so a caveman diet, they were eating upwards of 70 to 100 grams of fiber a day. If you're actually wondering how many grams you should be consuming, the calculation is 15 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories you consume. So if you are eating a 1,500 calorie diet, you need at bare minimum 22.5 grams of fiber. And if you're a man eating 3,000 calories a day, you would need 45 grams of fiber a day. So what I like to have my patients do is actually to start tracking just for a week, Chronometer, MyFitnessPal, and have them enter in everything they're eating for 7 days and look at what the total amount of fiber is they're consuming in grams. So what do you look for and how do you know if you're actually not getting enough fiber? One, you are constipated. You are not having regular bowel movements. And when you do go, you find you have to push a lot. Another big one is that it comes out very soft. And another one, and this may be a little gross, is but when you do wipe, you have to wipe multiple times because it's literally the consistency of mud as opposed to good formed stool. You find you have low satiety, so foods don't fill you up very quickly. You're always hungry, you're always snacking, you're always looking for chips or a granola bar or anything like that. Your blood sugar is out of control and you are chronically bloated or you have a lot of gut issues. This can indicate a bacterial imbalance in your gut. So that could be SIBO, that could be a bacterial imbalance, very common if you've been on antibiotics. So these are things to look for in your own body to know if your gut biome is out of control and that you may not be getting enough fiber. The top sources of fiber. Remember, we had two different types. We had insoluble fiber and we had soluble fiber. Let's start with soluble. Think really soft, mushy things like chia seeds, oatmeal, flax seeds, beans, lentils. What else do we got? Fruits. Those are all forms of soluble fiber. And then insoluble fiber, of course, we have things like nuts, seeds, we have leafy greens, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, nuts and seeds. All of these are all the different kinds of insoluble fiber, and you want a blend of them. You don't just want to be getting one type of fiber and not the other. You really want to be getting both throughout your day. All right, so now you all know you need to be getting fiber. Do not make these common mistakes. Number one with fiber is people go too hard too fast. Everyone thinks more is better. It is not true when it comes to fiber. You may be able to consume protein pretty quickly without too many issues, but fiber can really hit you. People can start taking too much fiber too fast and they get bloated and have gas like you wouldn't believe. So start slow, start low, and take your time. It may take you a month, may take you a month and a half to actually get up to the recommended amount of fiber that you should be having. The other one is not drinking enough water. Remember, soluble fiber absorbs water. So if you do not have enough water in your diet, your stools are actually going to become very hard, very firm, and then of course difficult to pass. So make sure you stay hydrated and you're good at getting your hydration in before you start upping your fiber into the high levels. Relying on powders. Do not just take powders to get your fiber up. You need to be eating vegetables. You need to be having nuts and seeds. You need to be having some fruits. Get some grapefruit in there, some berries. Blueberries are a great source. And then use powders where necessary to top up to the level where you are, which is why when I have people track their food, if a male is supposed to be getting, say, 45 grams of fiber, and they're only getting about 35 in the run of a day, well, that's where we'll supplement with a little bit to get them up over the hump and get them into that the bare minimum through that. That's why it's called supplements. Here are some simple tips and tricks to get more fiber into your diet without even thinking about it. If you're having yogurt in the morning, let's add some flax seeds. Let's add some hemp hearts. Let's add some little nuts and seeds like sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds. Make your own salad crunch that you can put on top. Lots of pumpkin seeds, lots of sesame seeds. You think of things like roasted chickpeas. Those would also work. Edamame, anything like that. You can just start putting in all the time. Make sure you have vegetables at every meal, not just supper. Chia seed pudding overnight is a really good way to get tons of fiber in. So that's where you take some chia, you soak it overnight. That can be in milk, that can be in water. Then you can add some vanilla, you can add some berries, you can add some maple syrup, a little bit of honey, and you can actually do that in the morning. Again, make sure you are properly hydrated. And instead of having chips, why not have some roasted chickpeas if you can handle them and they don't bother you? Let's drop some research bombs on you. So in the journal Lancet in 2019, so this is already a 6-year-old study, and this was a meta-analysis, found that if you had a normal fiber amount, so the recommended fiber, so 25 to 42 grams of fiber, depending on your weight and the amount of calories you're eating, it decreased your risk of all-cause mortality, which means dying from absolutely any cause, by 15 to 30%. So by having proper amounts of fiber, you could actually decrease your risk of death by 1/3. That is an absolute monstrous number which no drug could touch. So, fiber is the fix. If you're tired, inflamed, bloated, constantly craving carbs, you should really look at your fiber closely. Start small, increase slowly, stay hydrated. You will definitely start to feel the difference, and you will see the difference in the bathroom. If you find this info helpful, then definitely subscribe, share with all your friends. If you have any notes or comments, just drop them down below. And by all means, next episode, I'm going to drop a little hint here. We are going to deep dive into all things visceral fat, which you definitely need to know. Get your fiber up, and I'll see you in the next episode.